out of the hole. What a first day. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this year's BluCamp hosted by Polosub in the beautiful Isola del Giglio off the coast of Tuscany in Italy. Hannah and I have been out here for the past 5 days, spearfishing, freediving, eating ourselves stupid. And the first day I got to achieve something that I've wanted to achieve in the Mediterranean for so many years. It was an incredible day. We'll take you back there right at the start. Just a quick mention, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, but more on that later. Today is our first little spearfishing session, and we're heading out here with a very famous spearfisher, Dario Deli. Despite it looking sunshine reggae, the water is still quite cool. I think it's around 16 degrees, so I'm going to be wearing a 7mm jacket and 5mm pants. On a scale of 1 to 10, how white is my butt?
The unfortunate thing is your ass is the same color as the rest.
Here he is, the one and only Dario Deli.
What kind of fish do you want to start to do?
Scofano!
Scofano.
See?
Dario lived in the UK for 10 years and we have many mutual friends. It's always great to finally dive with people you've only met through social media.
Are you ready for your Scofano?
Ready for the Scofano?
Minimum 2 kilos.
I opted for my new 90cm Meandros gun for the hole fishing. Finding a scorpion fish would be a numbers game. The more holes you look in, the better. There was certainly no shortage of them in this place. Every turn under this rock seemingly led to another pathway, a great habitat for fish, but it makes it very difficult to spear them. Hannah joined me on this huge rock that dropped down to 20 meters. We've both recently completed a freediving course and she's diving better than she ever has before. We both could not believe the color of this starfish, bright crimson red. With Dario picking up a sargo, we decided to move to another location to look for forkbeards, or as they are known locally here in Italy, mostella. I've only ever shot one of these before in Albania and it was sitting out in the open. Normally you find them living under rocks. I dropped down to a likely looking rock at 17 meters and got to work.
We just went to a new spot. Dario said that they see mostella here, which is this forkbeard. First rock that I looked under, saw it under there with the torch and then put a shot through. That was not the best, but brought it home for dinner, so a good start. A heck of a lot better than the very first time I dived in the Mediterranean in Ponza 5 years ago.
Once again, we moved on to another place where Dario has seen groupers before.
It still hits you, that water, doesn't it? It's cold.
It looked very promising with lots of boulders falling away to the depths and bait fish in the water column. I made a dive to 20 meters and got searching in holes. I was sure there had to be something around here in this labyrinth. That is a nice sized grouper. I keep the pressure on the fish as I didn't want it to go any deeper into its lair. I've been extremely lucky to learn from some amazing Mediterranean spearfishers over the past 5 years, with countless trips leading to this moment. A lot of trips and a lot of expense. Now, time to pay some bills.
Hannah and I often get asked, how do we afford so many of these trips away? The reality is, we work our absolute butts off when we're at work at our full-time jobs, and occasionally we get sponsors for videos like today's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN or virtual private network. In a nutshell, a VPN adds security and anonymity to your browsing. When you're on the internet connected to public Wi-Fi, there are people out there that could steal your personal information. A VPN like Surfshark puts a middleman between you and those people. So how is that relevant to spearfishing? Well, we're traveling all the time, and me particularly for my work as a cinematographer, I've already traveled to 8 different countries this year using public Wi-Fi in airports or cafes, and I don't want my personal information stolen because it's happened to me before. Another thing I love about Surfshark is I can change my virtual location. Have you ever watched something on Netflix at your home country and then gone somewhere else and logged in and it says that title is unavailable? With Surfshark, a few clicks, you can change your location to just about anywhere in the world and access all your streaming services 100% perfectly like you were back at your home. If you think this is something that would be useful for you, you can get an exclusive deal with Surfshark by entering code MANN, M-A-N-N, at checkout using the link in the description to get an extra 3 months free. Thank you Surfshark for sponsoring this video and facilitating trips like this to beautiful places. Now let's get back to that grouper. I just did a drop then on what was a likely looking hole. I saw a really nice chunya in there, a grouper that I shot. I've got a spear into it. So I'm gonna go back and try and get another gun onto it and see if I can get it out. It's probably 5 kilos. It looks quite a solid grouper.
I tied the spear gun off to a buoy on the surface to prevent the grouper going any further into its lair. Meanwhile, Dario had a look in the hole and he said he couldn't even see the shooting line attached to the shaft, only the reel line. The fish was in deep, but there is usually always another entrance.
I don't think I had the camera on just then when I saw it, but I could see the fish upside down at the head in a hole that I'm sure I could get it out of. So Dario's going to check one more time to see if it's a good idea to put another spear into it, but I'm quietly confident.
Now I'm heading back down to the other side of the rock where I can see the head of the fish. I've got Dario's 65cm gun to try and place a headshot so I can pull it out of the hole. I've got the shot into the head, but due to the first shaft, it's not coming around the corner without a load of force. Time for the extraction hook.
Yeah, it's Gary. I can see the head. You get it with the hook. I can do it if you would.
Whatever you want. If you want to do it for your filming, you can do it.
I'd like to try myself if that's okay.
I make a plan on the surface just to get the fish out of the hole and recover the gear on subsequent dives. These stainless steel hooks or gaffs are a really useful tool for getting fish out of a hole. I know this grouper is already dead and it will fit through the hole. I just need to gaff it in the bottom jaw, and with a bit of force, I'm sure it will come out.
I got the gaff into it. It's out of the hole.
Is it?
Yeah. Giuseppe just is, not Giuseppe. Dario is going to cut the line so I can get my other gun back and it all in one go.
My first shot actually pulls out and my prize is making its way to the surface. Nonetheless, Dario cuts the line off my first gun so I can recover the shaft on the next dive. I've spent a lot of time in the Mediterranean, and to finally get a decent dusky grouper was a surreal moment.
How do you feel?
I feel very accomplished just after 5 years of, I guess, training for this moment. A lot of good advice from Giacomo and Klaus recently in January about getting these things out of holes. Make sure you can get the fish out of the hole you shoot it in. And also Dario for helping me. Advice. Some good advice.
I haven't done anything. You did it all by yourself, man.
Woo! Thank you very much. Fantastic feeling to be able to finally take one of these fish, and a really nice one at that.
Finally, I recovered my original shaft. With a few bends over the knee, it was good to go again.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Really well done.
The afternoon wasn't over and we were now warmed up. Dario took us to a place to look for dentex. It was over 30 meters deep and I hadn't dived that sort of depth since the start of the year, so I was a little nervous. We opted to use the variable ballast method, more specifically the pendulum method. This is not a technique for beginners and you should never variable weight to gain maximum depth. You should only use this technique in depths you can constant weight dive. missed the pinnacle I wanted to land on, so I had to swim over about 10 meters. The water is very cold down at this depth, and I didn't hold high hopes for seeing any dentex. There were plenty of small, nervous fish, so perhaps a grouper was terrorizing them around this monolith. No luck for me, but I'm sure there was a predator in one of the many holes around this structure. A bit deep for me to start hole hunting though.
It's a nice rock though.
Yeah, no, this area there is always groupers,
Okay.
but you never catch them. They are so smart that so it's very difficult. Sometimes you find the day that is like maybe digesting, and maybe then you get lucky.
Yeah. Usual story.
We dived for a few more hours unsuccessfully, so decided to head back in. Dario had to leave and take his boat back to the mainland, so we said our goodbyes. The other divers return and we clean the fish together, recounting the tales from the day. That night, my grouper was made into goujons for everyone.
This is Daniel's grouper! Marco!
Good job, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing for us all.
You're welcome. Thank you, Daniel.
Chernia. Roper. Gorupa. Fish food. Very good.
Dry fruit. Dry fruit.
Raga, non mi pena. Cazzo era? Marco si è mangiato la chernia e ci ha lasciata una.
Very moist, very tender, tastes like 5 years of persistence.
Join us next time as we get to see Giuliano take on a difficult grouper extraction, Hannah hits her PB, and I'm after the highly camouflaged yet delicious scorpion fish.